We have a major Suns trade update to discuss as Phoenix has been named one of the favorites to land Domantas Sabonis via trade this offseason. As there is a ton of news, a ton of turmoil with the Sacramento Kings and the future of Domantas Sabonis with that organization, and a sequence of events has been laid out by multiple reporters about how the Phoenix Suns can slide in and acquire the star center from the Sacramento Kings. Now, I've seen Suns fans be back and forth on these latest updates, not feeling Domantas Sabonis, but despite the fact of his defense, potential fit, he is one of those star players, and we know how much Matt Ishbia loves acquiring big-name talent. So we're going to break down what these trade reports are saying, the Suns' odds of actually acquiring Domantas Sabonis, and whether or not it actually makes sense for Phoenix moving forward to pursue this deal, because we've seen this team go after big talent and it not work out at times in the past. So lots of stuff to break down in this video. But before we do, folks, again, if you are a part of the 67% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet and want to stay up to date with everything going on with the Phoenix Suns, especially during this crucial pivotal offseason in this Suns organization's history, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that's happening. But let's dive into it, because there's a lot of stuff to really sink our teeth into, because Brett Siegel came out in March and said that many around the league are preparing for the possibility of the Kings becoming big sellers ahead of 2026 NBA trade deadline next February, which would likely result in Sabonis requesting a trade and should clear a direction not present itself. So this was about a month ago, and people looked at this and like, okay, the Kings are always in trade rumors. They trade away De'Aaron Fox. They brought in Zach LaVine, whatever the heck's going on. But then reports started to escalate over the past week or so as news came out that said big changes are coming in Sacramento before this year's draft, as it could even happen within the next week. Don't be shocked if this team goes through some sort of rebuild in the offseason. I'd personally be surprised if DeMar DeRozan is around next season, and Sabonis hitting the trade market isn't as crazy as some would think. One of the hot names talked about around the league in early trade targets. So this is intriguing because, again, things are falling apart. The Kings just hired former Knicks GM Scott Perry to man their front office. At least they have a direction in terms of who's going to be running their team in the future, as they got rid of Monty Mayor, brought in Scott Perry. Suns fans don't really know what's going on with James Jones, or if whoever the heck's going to be coming into this team. But I digress. The Kings are trying to move into a different direction. They're trying to pivot, and that's what these reports are coming out and saying. And then this is where the Suns get involved, because we know, Matt Ishbia loves star hunted, loves going after these big name players. And the odds have been revealed in terms of the teams most likely to land these top guys. And while the Indiana Pacers are the favorites, you see the Phoenix Suns out here on this list. The Suns are named as one of these teams to land Domantas Sabonis via trade, the top 5 trade destinations. And things are only heating up as of late in terms of what's going on with these trade odds. Because, again, Domantas Sabonis is an elite basketball player. Don't get me wrong, right? Like, this guy, 19 points per game, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 41% from the three-point line, 50% on corner threes, only 28 years old as well, so really fits well with the Devin Booker timeline, and offensively would really bring a different dimension, would bring some different balance, because we know while Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal are all guys that can score the basketball, that can do things, they play a similar role. They do similar things out there on the basketball court. Domantas Sabonis can really help facilitate, anchor that center position. I know Nick Richards was brought in, and then fans have been divided on him as well. No one will be divided on Sabonis' offensive impact. He is a legit guy out there at that center spot, floor spacer, finisher around the rim, facilitator, does everything out there on the front court. But this is where things are starting to heat up, because, again, the odds are one thing, and then you have reports now coming out from NBA insiders that are essentially revealing what the Suns are kind of cooking up. That the center spot is was a problem position for Phoenix all season, but getting Sabonis back as a part of the return package for Kevin Durant would take care of that. Sabonis would also fill a good chunk of scoring void that a Durant mega deal would create. Now, the possibility they probably wouldn't put Phoenix on a championship path, which is an argument to take things down to the Suns and start over. But if the Suns aren't seriously considering that option, then aim becomes on maximizing their competitiveness. And Sabonis would certainly help them do exactly that. So this is a very, very intriguing sort of discussion, because we know Matt Ishbia has zero desire to tear this thing down to try to tank. He views this team as like, oh, the talent is there, like we're one piece away. Every single interview this man has given, it's like, hey, let's try to just tweak this and make things better, versus trying to rebuild and go in that direction. I mean, the Suns have barely any of their draft picks. So it doesn't make sense for them to tear things down unless they're making a trade with the Houston Rockets, who currently own all of their draft picks, it feels like. So basically, I don't expect the Suns to go in that direction, tearing things down, going through the draft. Matt Ishbia is impatient. He wants this team to be good, and he knows there is talent on this team. And I agree with him. There's legitimate talent on the Suns team. It just needs to be put together correctly. And bringing in Sabonis, he would definitely add some roster balance. Defensively, there still might be some question marks, but then if you trade Kevin Durant, you open up more minutes for Ryan Dunn, who could step up on the defensive end. You have to make a couple more moves, a couple more maneuvers, but I don't hate that return. I don't hate him if the Suns are going to go in that direction to kind of maximize their competitiveness. I know Kevin Durant is still awesome. I think there's a legitimate market for KD. I don't think there's a spot where the Suns get fleeced in any KD deal unless they're just really fumbling the bag in terms of decision-making, leadership out there in the front office. But KD last season averaging 27 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.2 blocks, 43% from the three-point line. Like, KD is still a star out there in the NBA. But if you can get a multi-team deal where Sabonis is that piece coming back, again, you're forced to trade Kevin Durant, which after the debacle of the trade deadline where the Suns were willing to trade KD and then didn't really talk to him about it, then I wouldn't mind Domantas Sabonis as a major piece in return. Of course, a lot of people want to go younger, want to go in that younger direction, but unless you're doing one of those deals with the Rockets, which we've seen brought up so many times over the past while. I know the Rockets are really intrigued by Devin Booker and not Kevin Durant. Don't trade Devin Booker. Just don't do that. KD is the guy that I think is more expendable to the hearts of a lot of Suns fans versus, anything out there on that front. But basically, the Suns, if you're getting one of those star players back, I don't mind Domantas Sabonis being one of those centerpieces of a trade. I don't think that's horrible. I don't think Kevin Durant's going to end up going to the Kings. I think it's a messy situation in its own right, but if you're having a multi-team deal, multiple pieces moving back and forth different directions, and the Suns want one of those star guys back in return, I think Domantas Sabonis is a very, very intriguing option. But this all comes back to what the Suns really have to do, because again, you have this leadership gap. You have this uncertainty about who's going to be the GM of your team. You have Matt Ishbia really overstepping in terms of everything that he's doing here right now. And Bob Myers is, of course, a piece that everyone wants out there in the mix to get things going. There's new ownership. There's new GM out there with the Sacramento Kings. So it makes sense as a potential trade partner. And you just have to figure out what's going on with the books out here for the Suns team, because you're still paying Bradley Beal a ton of money. You're still paying Devin Booker, and that contract's going to go up with that contract extension. And then what are you going to do with Grayson Allen to get off of his bread or to keep him around? Maybe he has a bounce back season. You have Royce O'Neal. You have a lot of guys out there at those mid-level contracts who are locked into your roster, but we'll see how things play out. But if the Suns do end up trading Kevin Durant, which all signs indicate, unless a big hard-nosed coach is coming into the mix, KD will be on his way out. Would you want to see Domantas Sabonis brought back as one of the centerpieces in one of those deals? Let me know in the comment section down below. You guys best take as far. Subscribe to the channel. I'm signing out. Cheers.